Welcome to video 2 of this series. This video is all about mastering your private practice, and I'm going to share with you today, I'm so excited for this, I'm going to share with you today the secret that changed everything for me, because I want you to be able to use some of this as well so that you can have some more success in your private practice too. So today what we're going to do is talk a little bit about archetypes of masculine and feminine energy. As you know, archetypes are very Jungian, aren't they? But if you're new to these types of conversations, stick around, because I think that you're going to be intrigued and maybe interested in what we're going to be talking about today and how it's actually showing up for you in your private practice. Plus, I'm going to show you what you can do to start making some changes to the energy that you're using in your practice so that you can get more results, whatever results it is that you're seeking at the moment. So, as I said, I'll try not to keep these videos too long because I know you're all super busy. So, you know what an archetype is? An archetype is, in very general terms, it's a metaphor that we use to understand the ways that different situations appear to us, and it's universal. Archetypes are considered to be universal. So there's like an archetype of a mother, there's an archetype of a father. Today we're focusing really on the archetype of energy. So we're using the phrases masculine and feminine. It doesn't mean if you're a woman, you've got feminine energy, and if you're a man, you've got masculine energy. No, it's kind of like, think about yin and yang. It's just a way that we use to describe energy. As a woman, you are going to have masculine and feminine energy. As a man, you're going to have masculine and feminine energy. We all have both energies. That's really important to understand. What we're going to look at today is, some things that can help raise your awareness around what energies seem to be operating in the most for your private practice, so that then you can start to look at, how it's affecting your private practice. And with that awareness, hopefully then you'll be able to go ahead and make some really simple, light, easy changes that can get you some quick results. I know, isn't this so much fun? It's so different to other private practice coaching. I could talk about this stuff all day. I wish we could do some workshops, but we can't because of COVID. But anyway, maybe we'll do some online workshops in the future. So masculine energy, you'll all know it as women in private practice. It's considered to be energy that's doing. So it's very left brain. It's all about cognition, thinking, planning, doing, organizing. It's the to-do lists. It's scheduling everything. It's mapping things out. It's, planning your next quarter. It's setting your income goals. It's setting your retention goals. It's setting your KPIs. It's performance managing your team, all of those sorts of things. Masculine energy is very achievement focused. It's loving things like structure, and it really thrives on routine. Okay. The masculine energy is really around protecting and defending, and it really loves also being still, right? It focuses on one thing at a time, and it's very disciplined energy. It's able to be supported by the feminine energy, and it can support the feminine energy. Masculine energy is accountable. It has really good boundaries in place. It offers security and stability. It has purpose, drive, and vision. All right, so let's think about how masculine energy could be showing up in your private practice. Think about what's going on in your private practice and how you feel. Like, what are some of the things on this list that really resonate for you? Do you feel like you're in the doing energy all of the time? Do you feel like you're constantly having to be on top of things with planning and scheduling and organizing? Are you achievement focused? Are you driven? Do you feel like you're quite disciplined? Do you have good boundaries in place? Do you know your purpose and your vision? And are you working towards manifesting those? You know, are you bringing them into the reality, making them happen? Now, you're probably going to have some things that you agree with here and some things that you don't, or some things that you're doing here and some things that you don't. That's okay. I just want you to start thinking about this. All right. So that's what we would call sacred masculine energy. Some people call it divine masculine energy. You might call it healthy masculine energy. But this is what good masculine energy looks like. And just think about what that would mean for your private practice if you're able to operate, you know, between 9 and 5 from this space. What would be different in your practice if you were able to focus on one thing? If you're able to be disciplined, if you were accountable, if you had good boundaries in place, right? Start thinking about some of that as we move through these 4 parts of the quadrant. The flip side of sacred, divine, or healthy masculine energy is what we call wounded masculine or unhealthy masculine. And this is where sometimes, you know, the flip side of that energy can come across as us being a little bit abrupt, irritated, bothered, short with people, aggressive, very controlling, like micromanaging, you know, hover around our team a lot, want to be CC'd in on all of the emails, want to go to all of the meetings with everybody, you know, not giving people responsibility in the practice because you think you have to do it all yourself or it's not going to get done the right way. Wounded masculine can also look like withdrawing or avoiding situations, right? So maybe you don't want to do a Facebook Live because you're worried about being judged. Wounded masculine is also highly competitive. Now, why do you think being highly competitive could be a problem in private practice, right? Think about that for a minute. How is that energy going to be problematic for you in private practice? Can be abusive. So abusive can be, of course, towards others, but it can also be sort of self-abusive. And that can look like things like not giving yourself the care and TLC that you need, abusing coffee or caffeine, smoking, not exercising, stuff like that. Unstable, so hot and cold. People don't know what the energy is that you're going to bring to the practice from one day to the next. Like your team might feel like they're walking on eggshells with you a little bit. You're unwilling to try new things. You're just stuck in your box. You're stuck in your limited way of thinking. And even though it's not working, or it's not working as well or effectively or efficiently as you need or want it to, you're just like, I'm not going to look out there. I've got my blinkers on. This is the way it's always been done. This is the way I'm going to do it as well. I'm just going to persevere here because if I persevere and I keep pushing, eventually it's going to work. Right? It's that kind of really narrow-minded thinking. It forces, it exerts effort and it exerts energy. And imagine too, like thinking back to yesterday's video, imagine too what that's going to do to like the energy for your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and even your spiritual body, like that connection you have to yourself. Not great, right? And this is just like a little overview. Of course, this goes into a lot more detail. These are just some examples of what wounded masculine energy can look like in your business or how you're showing up in your business. And I know it's not nice to look at these things, but nobody's going to know, right? It's just you at home watching this video, but see what's resonating with you already in terms of the wounded masculine, how it's affecting your practice. Then we've got a feminine energy, right? So I love masculine energy, but I also love feminine energy. Feminine energy is something I'm constantly training myself to lean more into, because just speaking for myself, I've been conditioned by whoever, society, university, family. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I got in my head I needed to be all in that doing. But feminine energy is around being. It's mostly around being, allowing, and receiving. And for some reason, I think as women, we struggle with being, right? Maybe we were told when we were growing up that, you know, we were more lovable or were more approved of or something like that if we were coming first in the races, or if we were getting the best marks or something like that. I don't know. It's different for, we've all got different stories. But anyway, I love the idea of the feminine energy, and every day I get better at leaning into it. But really she's around, you know, that spiritual stuff. It's around connecting with your intuition, learning how to listen to that intuition, and then learning how to cultivate trust with yourself by following it. Feminine energy is quite grounded, you know. She's reflective, allowing, receiving, open. You know, if you're stuck in the doing of that masculine energy and you push, drive, you're not going to get the same results, because you're not creating space to receive the referrals, to receive the opportunities, to receive the income, to receive the time abundance. You're just not going to get it. It will take you so much longer. I mean, you'll get it in the end, but if you're harmonizing the masculine and the feminine energy, things are going to come to you more quickly. And I've got plenty of evidence for this as well. She's patient, like that energy is really patient. That energy is trusting, is open, is authentic energy, vulnerable, you know. And vulnerable doesn't mean you tell the world your horrible stories and your problems and you know, no. I think we get that wrong and it scares us. And I believe that being vulnerable just means being real, just being yourself. But anyway, you can define vulnerable however you like. That's just what worked for me. Feminine energy is when we come from a heart space. It's compassionate, it's loving, it's nurturing, nourishing, kind. It's able to be supported by the masculine, right? Very comfortable leaning into a masculine energy for support when she needs it. And she's also very comfortable being supportive. She has, sorry about the typo, she has strong boundaries in place. She's comfortable with those. She's magnetic, radiant, creative. Her energy just flows effortlessly, right? Feminine energy is really, you can still be busy in feminine energy, but she's distracted. She doesn't really complete things, unlike the masculine, which is you have the to-do list and you do one thing at a time. You know what I mean? Like you finish one thing before you move on to the next. Feminine energy is like, no. Feminine energy is like, oh, I'm checking my email. Now I'm on Facebook. Now I'm making Instagram posts. Now I'm on Canva. Now I'm doing this. Oh yeah, I started doing that. It's like she doesn't get things finished. Like you can't build a private practice solely in your feminine energy because you'll never get anything done. That's what I'm saying. You have to harmonize the two. So then, of course, the flip side of the feminine is the wounded feminine energy in your private practice. And this looks like feeling insecure, doubting your ability, doubting your worth, doubting whether you're good enough, smart enough, likable enough, lovable enough, friendly enough. Because of that insecurity, you can become codependent. So what might that look like in your private practice? You might ask yourself. It could look manipulative. You know, ask yourself honestly, have you been manipulative or had any manipulative tendencies or inclinations in your private practice? And what did that look like for you? It's been inauthentic. So by that, I mean, you really want to be seen and heard, but there's fear. So instead of presenting your true self to the world, you put on a mask. You're like, I'm a psychologist, this is my psychologist's face, and this is my psychologist's mask. Or I'm a social worker, and this is my psychologist's face, and this is social worker face, this is my social worker mask. This is how I have to present myself to the world, and things like that. That's like not being authentic. Wounded feminine energy too can be quite lazy and like super unfocused because she's guided by what feels right at the time. So if it feels right to her to go and make herself a herbal tea and stand out in the garden and smell the roses, she'll do that. And that's fine if she comes back in and then starts working. But if she decides then that she's going to come in and make muffins instead of working, and then she's going to go and watch Netflix while she waits for the muffins to bake because it feels good for her to watch The Secret on Netflix or something. Well, can you see what I mean? She's not getting anything done. There's like almost an element of we're taking it a bit too far now. She's overly giving and overly nurturing. And guys, this is so common because the feminine energy, when it's wounded, doesn't like herself and is not comfortable with herself. She's not comfortable in her own skin. To compensate for that, she'll get her feel good feelings through external validation. And how does she get that external validation that she's okay and good and lovable and kind and all of that sort of good stuff? She does it by giving more of herself to others, even when she's got nothing left in the tank to give, right? And she's overly nurturing, right? It's just like it's constant give. And then she can kind of become a little bit resentful of that as well, because deep down, she wants to be acknowledged. She wants somebody to see her. She wants somebody to hear her. She wants to be supported. She can become overly emotional. So like, you know, it doesn't just have to be teary. It might be, you know, upset or resentful or hurt or, you know, just all those sort of unwanted, over the top kind of emotions. And then the other thing that's really common with wounded feminine energy is kind of like this victim mindset. Of course, everybody else is really good at private practice except for me. I've done the same courses as them. They got results, but I didn't. I can't make money because I'm in a low socioeconomic area. I can't raise my fees because nobody would ever pay me that much money because I'm not as qualified or as experienced. I can't get on and do a Facebook Live because, you know, people will heckle me and they won't like me and they'll criticize me. And I can't step outside the box because, and I can't take my practice online because my clients won't like it. Therefore, I just have to stay home until restrictions lifted. Right? See what I mean? It's all that victim mindset that becomes a block for her being able to move forward and create that success that she's really wanting in her private practice. And it's not about the strategies. Can you see, like all of this stuff, it's the inner stuff, right? Somebody who's dominant in her wounded feminine energy, if I came along to coach her and I said, hey, you know what, if you really do want to generate some more referrals for yourself, you know, let's do this. Or if I said to her, no, we can take the practice online and here's the strategy for how to do it. If she's in that dominant victim mindset, it's never going to happen. But if I work with somebody that's more in the healthy feminine or the healthy masculine and say, hey, let's take the practice online temporarily while we've got COVID going on at the moment, those energies are going to embrace that and say, yeah, how do we make it happen, right? The feminine energy is going to say, right, what do I want to create? What's the feeling that I want clients to have? How do I want that website to feel? What copy do I want to put on the website? What's the content going to look like? What images, what pictures, what photos do I want to have? What font, what branding colors do I want to use? That's where the healthy feminine is going to come in. And then she's going to give all that to the healthy masculine. Healthy masculine is going to say, right, I'm going to plan this out. This is how we're going to transition our offline face-to-face clients to online. These are the steps we're going to take. This is what it's going to look like. And do you see, by harmonizing the masculine and feminine energies, boom, next thing you know, you've got online private practice. This is how it works. But if you're just in your wounded, it's never going to happen. And if you're just in your healthy feminine, it's not going to happen. And if you're just in your masculine, it's not going to happen. You have to harmonize healthy masculine with healthy feminine in order to get traction happening in your private practice. And guys, that is the secret. Honestly, it's, as I said to you in the last video, strategies like 10, maybe 20%. 80% of the success that you want in the way you define it for your business is going to come from all this inner stuff. You've got to be willing to do the inner work. And that's where this is different to what you're going to get with other private practice coaches and other private practice programs. Anyway, so what I'd love for you to do is, go back through these slides if you like, and maybe do a deep dive for yourself with your journal when you have time, and reflect on your day, or reflect on the week that you've had or the week that's coming up. Think about listing down the activities that you do and try and identify for yourself whether those activities fall within, divine masculine, sacred feminine, wounded masculine, or wounded feminine, and just start to tallying them up and see where you're spending most of your energy. And then think about what would need to be different in order for you to, create the change that you want to see in your practice, whether that's attracting different clients, attracting different referrers, letting go of Medicare, transitioning the practice, as we said, from face-to-face to online, or having a blend of the two. But certainly having an understanding of these energies and where your gaps are is going to help you create that abundance and that flow, and that, it's going to take so much stress off your plate. And I want you to know what it's like just to have a more steady, level, pleasing, fill your own cup private practice. Okay. So think about those things. And if you have any questions, of course, email me anytime. My email address is hello@brooklynstorme.com. I can't wait for tomorrow's video. It's the last one in our series. I hope that you're loving this. If you are, please let me know, because it's nice to get some feedback about what's landing for you as well as what's not, because that helps me provide more information. So the way that this video series came about was from a survey that I did with private practice clients about what was the most helpful for them and what they felt would be most helpful for new people coming into private practice, or people who already had a private practice but the strategies weren't working. So this has come about from input from women just like you in private practice who thought that you might benefit from hearing about this. So yeah, so much gratitude to you for sticking with me for another video, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye.